Hey YouTube, what's poppin'? Welcome back, Code Adventurers. It's day 2 of the Advent of Code 2023, and we're diving headfirst into the next coding challenge. If you thought day 1 was a festive warm-up, buckle up, because today's puzzle promises to be a brain teaser that'll keep you on your coding toes. In case you're just joining us, Advent of Code is the ultimate coding countdown to Christmas, where we unwrap a new coding challenge each day, bringing joy, excitement, and maybe a few head-scratching moments for developers around the world. I'm Chris, and I'll be your guide through this digital winter wonderland of algorithm and puzzles. Today, we're tackling day 2. The code behind this virtual door is ready to put our skills to the test. So grab your favorite coding beverage, fire up your IDE, and let's unwrap the challenge waiting for us on day 2 of Advent of Code 2023. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to stay updated on all the coding festivities. Without further ado, let's jump into the code and unravel the mysteries that await us in 53 seconds. Real talk, that intro was written by ChatGPT. I really don't know why I'm up at midnight doing this. I have no intent to hit the leaderboards, especially with using Golang. If I would use something more like Python just for the speed of things. But I'm having fun, so why not? I'm doing this for you, YouTube. All you subscribers out there that want to see the latest challenge, this is for you. Cheers. All right. Day 2, Cube Conundrum. Your launch time to the atmosphere. The apex of your trajectory just barely reaches the surface of a large island floating in the sky. You gently land in a fluffy pile of leaves. It's quite cold, but you don't see much snow. An elf runs over to greet you. The elf explains that you've arrived at Snow Island and apologizes for the lack of snow. He'll be happy to explain the situation, but it's a bit of a walk, so you have some time. They don't get many visitors up here. Would you like to play a game in the meantime? As you walk, the elf shows a small bag and some cubes, which are either red, green, or blue. Each time you play this game, he will hide a secret number of cubes of each color in the bag, and your goal is to figure out information about the number of cubes. To get information, once a bag has been loaded with cubes, the elf will reach into the bag, grab a handful of random cubes, show them to you, and then put them back in the bag. He'll do this a few times per game. You play several games and record the information from each game, which is your puzzle input. Each game is listed with its ID number, like the 11 in game 11, followed by a semicolon separated list of subsets of cubes that were revealed from the bag, like 3 red, 5 green, 4 blue. For example, the records of a few games might look like this. In game 1, 3 sets of cubes are revealed from the bag and then put back again. The first set is 3 blue, 4 red. The second set is 1 red, 2 green, 6 blue. The third is only 2 green cubes. The elf would first like to know which games would have been possible if the bag contained only 12 red cubes, 13 green cubes, and 14 blue cubes. In the example above, game 1, 2, and 5 would have been possible if the bag had been loaded with this configuration. However, game 3 would have been impossible. Let's see. Game 3, it's 20 red, okay, and we only have 12 red cubes, so we could never have pulled 20 red, okay? It explains it right here. Because at the one point, the elf showed 20 red cubes at once. Similarly, game 4 would also have been impossible because the elf showed you 15 blue cubes at once. If you add up the IDs of the games that would have been possible, you get 8. Okay, so all of the games that were possible. So determine which game would have been possible if the bag had been loaded with only 12 red, 13 green, and 14 blue. What is the sum of the IDs of those games? Okay, so real quick, I'm not going to hit the leaderboard, I don't think so. I'm just going to talk through my thought process. We're just going to take in line by line. We're going to split it. We will trim off the first bit. We'll take the ID of the first bit because that's what we're going to need to sum up, which is fine. We could do that pretty quickly. And then we'll split on semicolon and we'll check to see if each grouping, so this grouping, and this grouping will split on comma, and then we'll get the values for each one. So here's our input. So we'll go ahead and put that in our test.txt. And we know our score needs to be 8 for our test input. So we'll go ahead and modify our test here. And we can see that we're failing, which is fine. Okay, and then so we'll go here, and we've got our byte array. So let's see here. Let's grab this. These are our rules. So 12 red, 14 blue, 14 var red, 12, and then var green equal 13. Got it. And so we're going to return 0 if that game is not probable, but we're going to return the ID if it is. So we can think in this context here, we're really talking about a byte array. I don't know why I did that. Where's the data? This. So we're looking at something that looks like this. So we'll add that here. And so a couple different things. We can just do a bytes.split, and we're going to split on, we're going to take our input and we're going to split that on the colon. Which is going to give us just 2, right? So if we look at our input, we're going to have this side, which is our game 1 with our ID, and then this. So we've got game. Wish there's a better way to do this, but there's not. So we'll say game. We'll just go with ID equals to split sub 0, and we're going to split it on the space. So now we've got 1 here, which will be a sub 1, and I don't know. I don't even know why I'm relabeling that, but I just had a problem with it calling it split. So that's our ID. And then as far as our plays, so now we've got everything on the right side. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and trim everything off. I played sub 1. So that should give me trim. Cool. All right, we'll trim off anything leading and behind, and then we'll just say these are really regretting that choice earlier to to use bytes everywhere. Man. Anyway, semicolon. So that's going to give us each bag pull, right? And then so I guess it doesn't really matter about each bag pull technically, because we're just seeing like, is there anything that was played? It could be possible that we get a maximum number of dice or something. So we'll just say pull in range of this. So our pull should just be a slice of byte. But we have to split this and to its parts. So we're going to trim it. And then we're going to really, we just want I'm terrible naming, but it's fine. V, we're just going to split bytes.split pull with a space. Okay, so we're going to trim it, then we're going to pull it apart, and V sub 0 and V sub 1. So V sub 0 is going to be the count. And so I'm just going to I'm going to go to string. It's just all right. And then we just got to convert this. So again, A to I. And we're going to go with I. And in case if I is greater than blue, return a little archaic, but it'll do. We don't want to return that. We want to actually return but we don't want to return. Yeah, okay, so if I is greater than blue, return 0. Greater than green, return 0. And then greater than red. Okay, so yeah, here we go. We got this. All right, so we just want to, if we meet any of these conditions, we know it's invalid, right? So that's not valid. I have a feeling this is probably going to bite me later. But if we're good, then we run that. So now if we go and run our test, let's see what we got here. Expected a actual 15. Why? Blue, green, red. Blue, green, red. In a real world, I'd have a lot more tests. Let's see here. 8. What are some of the IDs of those games? You get let's just make sure I check my rule. 20 cubes at once. Similarly, game 4 would also have impossible because the elf showed you 15 blue cubes at once. And these, the game would be 8. Orange games would have been possible. What is some of the IDs of those games? If you had all the IDs that would have been possible, you get 8. So 1, 2, and 5. 1 plus 2, 3 plus 5 is 8. And we got 15, which is 5, 9. Okay, so they all came back as good. That's interesting. All right, well, at least we're parsing all the records, and we are parsing the ID out correctly. What we're not doing is exiting if the value is a certain value. So string v1, blue. All right, let's just set a breakpoint here. We're going to use breakpoints because we got that capability. All right, what is this? Oh, that's E1. No, that's confusing. Okay. V1. We got the comma on there. Why do we have the comma on there? Oh, because I'm splitting on this. It's kind of weird, but that's not what I want. I want that. Okay. Oh, this problem in VS Code where like sometimes the debug doesn't work. Yeah, okay. Got it. V sub 1. Okay, apparently I did sort of get it right. So each pull should be this. And okay, plate is the first one. And then we're splitting by semicolon. Oh, am I not splitting by the color? So this is each set of pool, right? So that's, yeah, so pool here. Yeah, okay. So pool, if we look here, this is what I'm doing wrong. I got to go one more layer deep. So pool is the full set of 3 blue, 4 red. So I just need to add one more for loop here. 4 dice. Yeah. Okay, let's just go for broke. That should be it. Okay, done. All right, so I should just be able to run this, and I get an error. That's great. Maximum length 1. Did I put my input text in? I did not put my input text in. It is late and I'm tired. All right. Input text is in. 2207. 2207. Awesome. All right, moving on. Part 2. The elf says that they've stopped producing snow because they aren't getting any water. He isn't sure why the water stopped. However, he can show you how to get to the water source to check it out for yourself. It's just up ahead. As you continue to walk, the elf poses a second question in each game you played. What is the fewest number of cubes of each color that could have been in the bag to make the game possible? Again, considering the example game from earlier, 3 blue, 4 red, or 4 red, 1 red, 2 green. Well, I'm not going to read through all the examples. In game 1, the game could have been played with as few as 4 red, 2 green, and 6 blue cubes. If any color had even 1 fewer cube, the game would have been impossible. The power of a set of cubes is equal to the number of red, green, and blue cubes multiplied together. The power of the minimum set of cubes in game 1 is 48. In game 2 through 5, it was 12. Adding up these 5 powers produces the sum. Okay, so we got to grab the max. Essentially, I think the power of the minimum set of cubes in game 1 is 48. Game 2 through 5 is, right, so the red, green, blue cubes multiplied together is 48. So if we look at 4 times 2 is 8 times 6 is 48. Okay, so it's getting the max of them, multiplying them together, and then summarizing all of those. So, okay, cool. So we're already set up for that. Or at least doing that calculation. We're going to... I'm going to go ahead and just create a separate get score function. We've got everything we need here. The difference is that we've got to get, yeah, so it's max blue, max green, max red. We'll go with that. And then instead of, if I is greater than max blue equals I. Max green, same thing. Max red, done. Okay, and then finally it is max blue times max red times max green. There is one, if any of them are 0, the value is going to be 0. Let's see if there's an example here. Red, blue, green, blue, red, green, green, red, blue, green, red, blue, green, blue, red, green, blue. So they all have 3 colors. It doesn't clarify what happens when there's a 0? So there's two possibilities. Either the value should be 0, or you should exclude the number if it is 0. And really, we can just make it a 1. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Okay. Get score 2. All right, we'll copy this. And we're just going to do test part 2, call part 2, and then we'll define part 2 really just as we could do something where we inject the function or something, but I don't really want to mess with that. Right now. All right. This should give me a wildly different score. 2286. 2286. Just so this passes. And then we will do one last thing, which is to add we'll see. All right, awesome. Well, I'm not going to check the data, but either they had no situation where 0 was a thing, or they did. Who knows? Either way, that's day 2. Again, I just want to take a moment and just say thank you for joining me on this coding adventure. If you could like and subscribe, if you have any questions about the process I went through or how I thought through the issue, it wasn't particularly difficult today. I will say that just comment below. We can go over it. This isn't necessarily probably the best approach, and there's definitely more testing to be done, but this is the way to handle it. Future videos, I will be just switching to strings. I thought, hey, let's keep everything bytes, but it's just more typing. It's way more typing. So, all right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for day 3 of Advent of Code 2023.